Well, hello, my beautiful Aquarians. Welcome to my channel. This is Baba Jolie here with a little bonus reading all about you. I've already cleansed your space and have meditated on your cards. For those of you who are returning, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all your wonderful likes, shares, and subscribes. I am truly grateful for all your beautiful energy. Just a little reminder though, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one reading, just so you're aware. Also, please be mindful, scammers are about to pretend to be me and lots of other tarot readers. I do not do personal readings and I will never reach out to you personally to offer one. Also, I will never ask you for money, e-gifts, or donations. So if anyone masquerading as me asks for anything at all, please report them or ignore them. It is a scam, okay? Let's move straight on with your reading. Now, I've sourced a softer frequency to prepare and cleanse your reading. I'm using Gaia chimes to cleanse hourly, so please be mindful to turn down your volume if you are someone who is sensitive to sound, okay? So let us begin. Okay, my beautiful Aquarians, this is a little bonus reading all about you. Us tarot readers, we tend to focus on career, money, love, but we never ask, how are you doing? So this reading is going to tap into what you're moving through at this moment in time and what lies on the other side. And of course, I shuffle the cards. I do not choose the cards. So this reading may not resonate with everyone. So please bear that in mind. So let us begin. Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Great Angels. Can you please guide my beautiful Aquarians? What are they going through at this moment in time? Can you please show them the way? How are they moving through this time period? What lies on the other side for their highest good? Can you please show them the way? Well, the first card there is the Sun. So a lot of you are going through a major awakening at this moment in time and trying to really get clear on your life, your personal development, your growth. You're trying to be really positive and really tap into that raw energy, be passionate about your life and, end conflict or move away from drama. A lot of you are also driving out the old in order to embrace the new with that card. And you could be looking at the path. Look at that, another major arcana card there. You have the World. So a lot of you are maybe getting clear on a cycle of repeat in your life and trying to end it or dissect it. A lot of you, this could be unfinished lessons or unfinished business with a person or a situation, but it also can be that you are on a big philosophical level looking at the impermanence of life, how the nature of change. Yeah, look at that. You have the Knight of Swords. Big lifestyle changes happening here for you. So it can be that you are someone who's going through a period of change or trying to transform in some way. And it can be that there's a flurry of activity. I mean, a lot of you are busy. We have that Six of Wands there. Some of you could have had a personal win or a breakthrough recently, but also I feel like you're trying to prioritize your own needs. And you're trying to live your passions in some way. And it's hard. A lot of you with the World card crossing, it can indicate that, you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. Even though you're trying to be positive, there is this need for movement forward. And it can be that some of you feel a little bit stuck in a rut. It feels like you're on the precipice of change, but you need that extra step or a gear change in some way. But I will tap into the energy in a moment. We have the Eight of Swords, yeah, in the same position, like sitting on the fence of change, as it were. So I will tap into that in a moment. We have the Justice card, making some adjustments in your life so you can get the best out of both worlds. You're just trying to live your truth, be authentic. And I feel something isn't fulfilling here. It's like a missing ingredient, or maybe for some of you, there has been some critical thinking, okay, where you just feel something's out of alignment. Because the World card in that position, it can be that something feels out of alignment right now, and it will come back into balance. And actually, the Two of Cups, this can be about love or a relationship. It can be that if you and a partner have been out of alignment or out of sync for a little while, it can be that there is a coming together. This doesn't have to be a partner. This could be a friend. It could be a sibling. It could be a parent. It could be a guardian. It could be a neighbor or a boss. It could be just a person that you have a relationship with where you feel that things have not been like fair, or things have been just out of sync, and now there is a recalibration of energy, people speaking their truth, a tete, as it were, coming together and trying to put some argument or some frustration behind. And I feel there's an affinity where both of you can come together. So if you're dealing with a relationship, and this is all about a relationship, which is something that is, of course, outside of yourself, but also it affects how you feel inside, it can be that, you are just trying to be you, and I feel you want to be seen. The Sun card is a card that highlights you just want to be seen. You want to be appreciated, and you don't need validation from someone or something, but it can be that you're out there shining your light and being your wonderful, authentic self, and that will really cast shadows on other people who perhaps, are not investing in a relationship in the same way, or it's almost like you're in a period of seeing things really clearly with this card. And it can be that you're looking at your world and all that it encompasses. I feel a lot of you may be looking at things that you have and things that you don't have, things that you aspire to at this time. But a lot of you are trying to close out a negative cycle. Now, this could be with the Devil card on a personal level, because this reading is all about you. It can be that you're really positive about the things that you need to detach from at this time that are toxic for you, whether these are toxic thoughts, intrusive thoughts, a flurry of activity in the mind, racing thoughts at night, for example, or racing thoughts bringing anxiety, or whether this is a substance, okay, that you are maybe tempted to have, or a food item that you're tempted to have that sometimes drains you or gives you a reaction. It could be that you're trying to detox at this moment in time. And sometimes with the World card, this can indicate, and we're all human, right? There's no pointing fingers here, but it can be that, you're locked onto a goal and you're going to detoxify, or you're going to, do something for you. And then suddenly with the World card, it's like, something may occur that tips you back into the quick fix, to reach for the thing that you're trying to disconnect from, or to reach for the item that maybe isn't so good for you, or even the person that isn't so good for you, because the Devil card is present. So it can indicate that there is something that you feel bound to or tempted to connect to that perhaps is not, good for you in some way, or maybe it's something that just needs to be looked at, because the Devil card is not an evil card. It actually identifies where you're feeling stuck, where there's no progress, where there's a limitation, where there's a temptation that has a reaction, where there is a trigger point. So a lot of you could be looking at the things that hurt you in life, whether these are people or circumstances, environments that you feel are toxic, or dynamics in relationships, because you do have that Two of Cups, which is relationships. So it could be the give and take of, the exchange of life. It can be a job. It can be a person. It can be a neighborhood. It's like, what are you getting out of a situation that brings you joy? And if with the Devil card there, you are identifying things that make you feel there's a limit, or you feel anxiety in a situation, or someone you're angry with, for example. It could be that you're furious at someone right now, and that World card can indicate that this is an ongoing situation, because it is in a crossing card. It can be that like some things never change. However, with you and the Sun card, you have the power to change. You have the power to grow through this and acknowledge that you are the catalyst for change, because anything that we do not change, we actually accept. And that is a very hard concept to realize, but we must acknowledge it. That is our truth. Sometimes we can feel that the circumstances bind us to something, and you feel truly helpless to change a situation. However, with that Sun energy, you are growing and maturing and realizing a truth of a matter. And it can be that you're identifying a place where you can change, so you can come back into balance. So for example, this card, it's all about balance. And if I actually connect this to the body, for example, this can be that something is out of sync in your body, and it can be that it's a triggering you. This could be pain, for example. This could be like excruciating pain, or it could be hormonal imbalance, or it could be migraines. It could be that you're at capacity, that you're giving out so much energy, you're exhausted, you're burnt out. And it's like it requires a lot of strength to transform your life in some way, or you need to identify a person with that Two of Cups there who can help you manage stress levels or manage pain or manage something that is triggering you in some way. So it could be that you're on a healing path. The Justice card indicates that you will find the right person and you will be in the right place to meet the person or the situation that can help you move through this. And there will be an opportunity for change, because the earthly plane position is a change card. It means lifestyle change. So it could be that you identify something that is out of sync in your world. And the Devil card, it's like you finally see it. You know, maybe it's something that perhaps has been ongoing, but you couldn't identify it. But now you identify it because you have the Sun card there, and now you can do something about it and close that chapter, because it means something that's been ongoing, that perhaps has been triggering or hurting you, or is toxic, or is draining or limiting you in some way. It's been going on for some time. The World card indicates now we shut it down. Now we end that cycle, because we're making different decisions. Because you have that Knight of Swords there, which means you're responding differently to something. So it could be that you have a person in your life who loves to trigger you, but now you are taking the moral high ground. You're not allowing this person to have access to you in the same way, and therefore they cannot trigger you in the same way. You're walking away from it. Eight of Cups is like you're fed up. You're fed up of something. You're fed up of something that's been ongoing, that has not been good for you, or has been challenging you or frustrating you. And, I feel like you are getting back into balance. And the universe rewards when you step away from something that has been limiting you. As soon as you say, actually, I've had enough. And a lot of you, with this Eight of Cups, you've had a lot to deal with, okay, is what I'm seeing there. But also, you've also had enough. Okay, that's what I'm being given. It's almost like you're underlining something, like enough. Even this Devil card, it's like I have a big fat no written on it. Now, it's not written on this card, but intuitively I see images and flashes of things, and I scry in the water. And I'm seeing in the water right now, this card in there, and there is a big no written on here. So it feels like you're saying no to something. That's enough. Either someone's crossed a line, or you feel a situation has become so frustrating or so highly pressurized that you know that the best thing for you and your health is to walk away from this, because it is not serving your higher purpose, okay? Now, the Knight of Swords indicates you're trying to change things. And of course, whenever we try to change anything as a human, okay, whether this is a diet-related thing, whether it is to step away from something that is magnetic, but maybe not good for us. This could be a person, where it's all consuming, a lot of passion, a lot of intensity, because you have a Six of Wands there and the Devil card. This can be lust. It can be that you're drawn to a person. Maybe there's an addiction there with that person, or an addiction with something. I mean, sometimes we can be addicted to cell phones, for example, and it can be that you're like, I need to detach from this because it is distracting me from my higher purpose, or it is not fulfilling anymore. So this Knight of Swords says enough. However, whenever we try to detach from anything, ever, there's always temptation. That will always be a presiding factor. So if you're trying to give up a substance, or you're trying to give up a certain way of life, or you're trying to manage your schedule in a more healthy way, it can apply to anything. You're trying to reshape your world in a certain way. The Devil card says there's always going to be distraction. There's always going to be temptation. There's always going to be an idea of a limitation. So for example, and this is just showing up in the water right now, okay? There was a scientific study of a glass jar with little fleas in the jar. Now fleas, of course, they jump up, don't they? And there was a lid on that jar. Now fleas can jump really high, apparently. Luckily, I've not seen any, but they can jump really high. But the scientific experiment had them in this little jar and put the lid on it, and they jumped to the top of the jar, okay? And then after a period of time, they took the lid off the jar, and the fleas still jumped to that point, even though they were free to jump higher, and their nature is to go higher. But because of the confines of a construct or the limitations, they learnt that that's what's possible. They learnt that that's the limit, okay? And a lot of you are saying, no, I've reached a limit on something. There's something better. There's something more, and I'm not allowing something to limit me in this situation. You're smashing through the glass ceiling with that Eight of Cups. You're walking away. You're searching for something that's more fulfilling at this time. You're letting go. You're saying you want a more authentic life. You're seeking deeper meaning. You're seeking this sense of purpose. You're having a wake-up call. This Sun card is allowing you to see all of your life, your whole world, and saying, okay, where is the limits? Where is the blockage? Where is, the control? And you're moving past this, okay? So please apply it to any area of your life. That's what I feel is happening here for you. Six of Wands, this is a past position. So a lot of you, it can mean that you reached a certain plateau in your life, and there has been celebration. I feel like you are actually someone who is working with a lot of challenges, and you're overcoming obstacles, and you are triumphant. A lot of you are building in confidence. You're taking leadership of your life. That's what this card is. So it can be that this card is a call for activity. You've decided in the past that you're taking leadership for your life, that you're influencing things now, that you're not letting life happen to you. You're out there, happening to life. You're making things happen for yourself. And of course, when that flurry of activity occurs, there's always going to be reservations, fear, anxiety. You don't know how things are going to work out, but looking at the energy, I feel there's an affinity of the things that you want matching your vibration and being delivered. Two of Cups is actually a manifestation card from the heart. What you want, you shall have. For some of you, this could be love. So for example, if you've connected to people in the past who were very toxic in relationships, or people who were not emotionally available to offer you the love that you truly deserve and desire, people who ghosted you or did not see the value in you, there will always be someone who does not value you at some point. That's the nature of meeting different people in life. There's always going to be that one person, but don't ever let that one person be you. So I feel there is this energy here of you changing and shifting and saying, actually, enough. You're moving from fear with the Devil card to possibility with the Eight of Cups. Whoever walks away on the Eight of Cups walks straight into the Nine of Cups. So there can be this point where you're like, I don't know where I'm going, but I know where I've been. And I've accomplished so far, things that I've wanted that brought me joy. And some of these things may have even been ego-driven. We're all ego-driven at some point. This can be like an ambitious energy to accomplish something. But right now, it feels like something is not fulfilling, or there is something more to life, and you're going seeking. You're in a period of soul searching right now, and you're not letting anything limit you, because that Devil card says there are no limitations. Okay, so I definitely see here, because you're moving on from the Devil card, there's always going to be distractions. There's always going to be, limitations, but you get to decide the parameters of that, because sometimes a limitation can be in the mind, just like the fleas. You learn the constructs, you learn the parameters, and you either stay within those parameters or you push past them. And this Knight of Swords, it literally means that you are broadening your horizon. You're responding to things differently. You are a different person, and something within you has changed, and you're adapting to a new way of living, new way of behaving, new way of thinking, and it's all changed from here. And you're moving away from this Devil card energy, and you're moving, as I said, from a limitation to a possibility. And that Eight of Cups is actually a journey of discovery. You're learning more about yourself, what's important to you. A lot of you are re-examining where you've been, in challenging situations, the moments where you had successes and wins and joys. And now you're like, well, what else? What is it that is that missing ingredient? And I feel this is you not adhering to anyone else's expectations. You're not being drawn into that. You're living your life with authenticity, and you're walking a path you feel you ought to walk. Okay, you're being true to your heart, and you've come as far as you can. But I feel there is more. Okay, so actually, the Eight of Cups, normally the history of the Eight of Cups, all the Eight of Cups are full, okay? These ones are empty, but the tradition of the card is the Eight of Cups, they're all full. So it's like you've fulfilled a part of your journey so far, and now you're on to the next. There's no limitations, but everything that you've acquired so far, it feels like it's a foundation for you to explore more, to build upon. So, this is about your dream, your vision. And, the Sun card can be an intention that you intend to live a happy, peaceful, prosperous, joyful life with good health, right? And that is the destination. I want you to be aware. Okay, let me just show you again, because my guides are saying, show it, show it. There is a path right there leading to the sun. And in your near future energy, we've got this person who is on the path now, moving towards the sun. So it can be that you're on a path right now where you're going to be very fulfilled. There's a lot of success, there's a lot of reward, a lot of warmth, but there had to be a personal development or a pinnacle flashpoint where you had to suddenly realize something, like a wake-up call. And now you can see the light. You can see that you're coming out of a dark tunnel or challenge, and you're moving towards something greater at this time. The Eight of Cups, it can also indicate that you have to decide between things as well. And you have a decision to make, and you're looking at what you've got, and you're like, okay, well, I could either stay with this, or I could open myself up to more. And I see you opening yourself up to more, okay? So if you've been in a toxic relationship and someone hurt you in the past, or, broke your heart, let you down, cheated on you, depending on your circumstance, that's not going to be all of you. I hope it's not all of you. In fact, I hope it's not any of you. But if it is, the Eight of Cups indicates that, you had to have a period of pause to really get to know yourself, to re-examine where the lesson is, and fearlessly move forward and say, I will love again. You're not allowing the experience to harden your heart, and you will meet the love of your life. You're being aligned with this person. For some of you, it could be an opportunity. For some of you, it could be better health. Whatever it is, it feels like you're not allowing something to conquer you or stifle you. So whatever that challenge is, you overcome it. It's like, I'm not afraid of this. I am going to move forward in spite of this. For some of you, it could be literally that you're turning pain to gain. Okay, now we do have the Eight of Swords, and this is your advice to yourself in this moment. Eight of Swords can indicate that you are releasing yourself from denial, because you have the Sun card, which is to truly see things as they are. Sometimes if we get into a cycle of repeat with a person and we give them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to really step up, but they never do. We have to release ourselves from that denial that maybe one day they'll change. Well, they haven't so far. So you're left with one other thing. You change. And that is the lifestyle change there. So I feel a lot of you, you're not accepting things as they are right now. You are in a powerful change energy where you are affecting your destiny. And from that, there is some really good karma. I feel a lot of you are adjusting, your energy, making some major adjustments in your life to get the best out of life. Variety is a spice of life, but there must be balance. But also you're living your truth. Okay. And of course, there's always going to be people angry at you trying to live your truth. There's always going to be people who try to dissuade you or tell you you can't do it, or, just because they could not do it, or just because they could not live their authentic truth, or they are living their own authentic truth and it doesn't align with yours. Doesn't mean you should ever align with their truth just because it fits in. Okay, this is you being your authentic self. So the Justice card can indicate that you're being honest to your circumstances, but also it can be, especially with the Devil card, that you're bringing your fears into perspective. Okay, and your worries. Of course, none of us really know the true destination point where we're going to get to on something, but we must trust the process. We may have flashes of insight and knowingness, and of course, if you can have access to visions or remote viewing and psychic flashes, and some of you could also connect to like mediumship, for example, and ask your guides and people beyond the veil for guidance. But ultimately, the majority of people don't have access to these visions, but you must trust the process. And I feel a lot of you, this is a mindset change right now, and you are leading with balance and logic, and you're making great decisions, because this card is a decision card. It can be that you're on the fence on making a decision, and you are standing true to your morals and to your beliefs, and you're doing what you feel is right for you. And a lot of you may actually be looking at your morals and belief system right now, especially since we have the World card and the Devil card here. It can be that you feel the world has somehow turned upside down, because the World card is in a position where you read it in the reverse. And you can feel that there's a lot of negativity and fear. And you may be asking, well, what's the end point? Why? Why is this all happening? Why does this have to be this way? Because a lot of you, you're a beautiful heart. You're someone who's very caring, loving, supportive of others. You're here for change. Aquarius energy is always here for change in society. You're a maverick. So it can be that you're questioning all of these things right now. Why is the world in a really topsy-turvy kind of place? Why does it feel that all the negativity is rising up? Well, things have to get to a flashpoint, a trigger point where everything changes. Things build up and up and up and up until such time as someone or a majority of people stand up and say enough. And a lot of you have got to that point in your life on something personal, but a lot of you could be, wanting this justice, what is fair in the world. And you may feel right now it's not fair, but I feel some of the decisions that you make may influence it being more fair. For example, you may be walking away from things that are connected to negative practices in the world. Like you may be, choosing one service over the other based on who their connections are or who is pooling resources into those companies. For example, I'm just giving you an idea only because the world card is there. And some of you, when the world went through a level of trauma over the last couple of years, it can be that now you're trying to recalibrate and get straight. The ripple effect. It's like you're getting back to some sort of, balance in your life. And now you are kind of like making decisions that will help propel you forward in life there as well. Also, I feel with the Six of Pentacles, because this is a hope and a fear position, it indicates that, of course, there's balance here, but a lot of you may be walking forward and hoping for an omen or hoping the universe supports your path or that you're on the right path. And I can see here that you are. You're aligning with something greater that fulfills your heart, but also the universe is going to step in and offer you some sort of surprise on your journey. And I feel it is a reminder that just when you're beginning to doubt something, the universe shows up at your door and says, surprise, you're on the right path, or surprise, here's an opportunity, or surprise, here's more money, or surprise, here's love. Just when you are beginning to doubt, suddenly the universe becomes a very auspicious benefactor, is what my guides are giving me, okay? Now, I'm just being reminded of a conversation. So obviously I've got to give it to you because it's something my guides are reminding me of right now. For some reason, it's a conversation that I am reminded of, but weirdly, and it is weird because it didn't take place like this, I'm seeing like a very old-fashioned taxi and a person in a taxi recounting the story. Weird, because I was actually present at this moment with a person telling me this, and we were not in a taxi, I can tell you that. So maybe this means this is your story and that you're going places or you're moving on or you're leaving. Taxis take us to destinations. So it can be that you are deciding on something. But the story, I'm just going to give you what it is. It was a conversation with me and a person, and they were about to give up on a dream. And they were like, I'm exhausted. I've done everything I can. But, it's hard. There's limitations. There's only so much I can do. I feel powerless in this situation. So the only option right now is to give up. So they made the necessary steps to look at a different direction. And suddenly the universe came in and went, here we go. And they had the biggest dream opportunity come in. The universe surprised and said, just when you're giving up, just when you're beginning to doubt, you were so close. But because you're giving up and walking away, here it is. So now you have a decision. Are you still going to walk away from it, or are you going to connect to it and move forward with it and trust the process? And of course, she actually grabbed onto that opportunity. It was like, oh my God, I literally was giving up. And there it is. And actually, it was something that made her well known. Okay. And thrust her into the spotlight of the public eye. So just when she was beginning to give up. So a lot of you could be going through a really challenging period, and you are on the pinnacle of change. I don't see a lot of you giving up on something. I feel actually you're moving on and pushing through and actually going to break through a glass ceiling or limitation here. But I just wanted to highlight that when you make that decision, I mean, for some of you, this could be that you're walking away from something and the universe comes in and says, hey, surprise, don't walk away. Here it is, the thing that you've been wanting. But I feel the majority of you are walking towards something greater by moving into the path of the unknown. The fear, of course, can be that you feel that you're working all alone out there, shining your light, and the universe has forgotten you in some way, or you feel that you're unappreciated. For some of you, if this is relationships, it can be that you've been investing in relationships and you feel that it's not reciprocal. But there will be some conversation between you and a person where both of you speak your truth. And actually, I feel there is a togetherness, an understanding. Because I feel this person, they're so caught up in their own stuff. Humans often are. We have a lot of worries on our shoulders, and it can be that they kind of like forgot to reach out. Now, of course, that's something that, you know, needs to be reviewed, of course, because if it's something that happens all the time, because we have the World card there, then of course you are correcting the balance by being the catalyst for change and putting a stop to it by withdrawing your energy, because the Eight of Cups is to withdraw. And it can be then that makes them come forward because they didn't mean to like take your company or your energy for granted, but they needed a bit of a shock in order to understand or realize that actually you're at breaking point on something. And for some of you, that Eight of Cups, it can be like a course correction. Suddenly you're deciding, actually, I really do want a new start. And Six of Pentacles supports your journey. That's often what this card means there. And I feel the Two of Cups is you being aligned with something that actually you truly desire. Now, a lot of you, it can be that you're learning to love again after toxic relationships, and you will love again. Your heart will be open. But this can also be an opportunity that you feel like you missed out on, and you felt like you had to walk away from it. But the universe says, don't worry, we got your back, because there is a better opportunity aligning with you. And yes, you had to learn about detaching from things and, you know, recognizing that some things are not for you. A closed door, you know, it can be there for a reason, to open another door and refocus you in some way. And the Two of Cups means you're aligning with your heart's desire. It is a manifestation card. It's a union between the thing that you want and you attracting it from the universe. But also this can be friendship. It can be reciprocal energy. It can represent balance and harmony in your life once more, or balance and harmony in a relationship once more. Or it can be a removal from a toxic substance or a toxic person from an environment, so that there can be harmony once more. And I feel that's what you're working towards at this time, a harmony. And, you know, the Six of Pentacles is the universe offering you something. And the Two of Cups can indicate maybe this something is something that you can share with other people. Maybe it's knowledge. Maybe it is a reciprocal exchange. You creating something that will bring in finances, for example. Pooling your resources. Second streams of income. These are things outside of yourself, but I feel a lot of you are letting go in order to embrace something new. Okay? Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels. Can you please guide? I mean, we have heels. We have bell. We have heart. And we have bull. Okay. Interesting, because that devil card there looks quite bullish, okay? So it can be that perhaps you're dealing with a very stubborn person. But we have heels, okay? Now this can connect to some degree to the sense of ego, trying to impress a person or a situation, or, you know, maybe even trying to invest in something that really wasn't worth your time. Maybe, you know, they were not worthy of you. And it can be that you're closing a chapter of your life recognizing that they should have valued you. They were actually not worthy of you and your presence. But it says here, trying to impress attraction and attractiveness, sensually empowered and wielding sensual attraction. So you're in a state of attraction, but also a lot of you are reigniting your passion, your joie de vivre, your lust for life. This can literally be that it's time you got out there and, you know, lived your passions, looked at excess. You know, if you've been playing it safe for a while, or you feel that things have got a little bit dull and boring, it can be to let down your hair, but not get locked in excess to the point where it controls you. Okay, a little bit of what you fancy is always nice. But we've also got the bell, so this can be an announcement, news coming in, maybe even that Eight of Cups, because we got the Sun energy, which is a path that actually is clear for you to move forward. The Eight of Cups could be a person coming to join you in your life. You know, it could be someone is on their way, whether this is a person who gives you information, or whether this is a person that you'll fall in love with, or whether this is a family member who's coming to visit. It could be anything there. But the bell, it signals an arrival as well there. So it says here, someone's arrival, spreading the news and drawing attention to. And the Sun card is drawing attention to something right now. And I feel a lot of you, it can be, as I said, a trigger or something that's been hurting you or limiting you in some way. But we also have the heart, emotions, focus on love, heart's calling, and the affairs of the heart. I definitely see the heart is calling you to do something different, something that requires change and stepping out of a comfort zone. And I feel actually you're all about it. You're feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And we also have the bull. Now, the bull actually is a lot about wealth, of course, but it can be this tenacity, this drive. But it says here, stubborn, uncompromising. So some of you, you know, with these cards that are popping out, it can be that there is someone visiting you who is stubborn, sometimes maybe uncompromising. This could be a family member, could be someone in your community. Perhaps you're having to defend yourself on something, but sometimes we have to choose our battles. Sometimes it's just not worth entering into an argument because, you know, if you're dealing with someone who is, you know, refusing to see another point of view, because you're there with the Justice card, which means you tend to review all aspects. You tend to see both sides of the story. But if you're dealing with a person who you have to entertain in some way, I feel, you know, you may try to kind of like distance yourself as much as possible, but limit the trigger point. So it's like as soon as things get a little bit hot and heavy or a little bit combustible or volatile or angry or frustrated or argumentative, you're walking away. You're taking the wind out of their sails, okay? You're taking the moral high ground. You're doing what is right for you to protect your inner peace. You're not doing it to say, okay, you're right, whatever, and you're walking away. You're just going, okay, you know what? Let's agree to disagree. I don't want to get into this. My health, my energy is more important than me engaging in this futile discussion. Okay, so it could be something like that. But we have stability and durability, riches and wealth. So a lot of you moving towards stability and taking accountability for your life, pushing through the energy. Sometimes we feel exhausted. You know, sometimes we're distracted. So it can be that you are using that stubborn energy in a really positive way, which is like, yeah, I see you trying to distract me, but I'm being really stubborn and I'm actually sticking to what I feel is right for me and I'm not allowing the distraction. So I feel like you can utilize that energy in different forms. But what I do see here is an alignment with something that will fulfill your heart and bring you a lot of joy. And it requires some level of change there. Just going to go and get a trinket or a room before we close. Okay, so we got a mask. Okay, now for some of you, as I said, this is like you living your authentic truth, removing the mask, but also seeing things clearly. You know, the Eight of Swords can be something's connected to like not seeing something, and then the Sun with the mask is like you're ripping the mask off it. You're identifying it. So I'm just going to give you an example. If you have been going through a change in your body and there's been a trigger point, a flash point where suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, you have a dip in energy or you have a hot sweat, for example, could be that you identify the culprit. Could be something like caffeine, for example, or sugar, for example. You identify what's been causing it. You're like ripping the mask off it and seeing it for what it is and trying to cut it out or limit what it is that has been causing some sort of reaction. I mean, for some of you, this could also be that you're seeing a person really clearly. Okay, after a period of giving them many opportunities to step up, now finally you're stepping out. You're not even forcing them to step out, you're stepping out instead. For some of you, this could also be that you're going to a masked ball or some sort of fancy dress event. And if you're looking for love, I feel like there could be a frisson between you and a person. It starts as lust first. Just be a little bit mindful because the Eight of Cups tells me you may have options. You know, there could be someone who's very articulate, someone who's very charming and very physically connected to you, but you may actually walk away from this and, you know, really meet the love of your life after that. So just be mindful of that. That's coming through there as well. So I'll leave that there, my beautiful Aquarians. I hope something resonates in that reading. Thank you so much and love and light.